Hello and good morning. Welcome to Happy Evolution, episode 482. We're going to review yesterday's amazing Madison Card Show. But first, coffee. Oh, that first sip of coffee in the morning. It's a lot like that first silver bullet I had yesterday after the card show. There's nothing better. Usually I'm a craft beer drinker, but there's nothing better after a long day of work or a hot summer day that light beer, domestic light beer, a Bud Light, Coors Light. I hate Miller Lite, but it's refreshing. So I had quite a few silver bullets last night. So slept in a little bit this morning, and I was watching. I actually have to go back and watch the Royal Rumble match because I fell asleep last night down on my couch in the basement. My wife had to come down and wake me up. I think she heard actually, I think she heard me snoring from upstairs. So I've got to go back and watch the actual Rumble match because the Rumble match didn't even start till like 10:30. It was like super late. It was already like 10 and the one match was still going. Was it Lashley? Yeah, I think Lashley Lesnar. Anyway, enough wrestling talk. Let's talk Madison Card Show. Zach says, morning. Back when I drank, I did enjoy Coors. Yeah, sometimes I switch back and forth between Coors and Bud Light. So it's last night was a silver bullet night. Madison Card Show yesterday, amazing turnout. I'm just gonna get right into the bad news first. And I think some people will probably be watching this video because they love drama. They want the drama, they want the scam attempts, and that's a good thing because it brings awareness to what can happen in the hobby, in the card community, in the card shows and shops. So we did have one instance, my first instance running the card show where I had to like step in and be a third party to like, you know, rule on a decision. So what happened was an potential scam attempt because it very well could have been it very well could have been the buyer just wasn't happy, buyer's remorse, but it also could have been a scam attempt. So here's what happened. So I was, and this actually happened we had the room sold out, and I also had tables out in the hallway. So it was one of my vendors out in the hallway, and I was at this point in the day, I was kind of, going around to vendors collecting money. So I was kind of like, I wasn't on my phone, I was getting texts from outside. It's kind of the bad thing about having two separate rooms. So the dealer's son came in, found me. He's like, "Hey, we've got a situation outside." I'm like, "Oh man." So how I deal with it, I'm just, hey, this is between the buyer and seller. So, I'm going to come in and I'm going to give my opinion, but ultimately it's between the buyer and seller in this instance. So what happened was, and it was a higher dollar, it was an $1,100 sale. It was a Trevor Lawrence. I don't even know what it was. It was one of those flashy, shiny cards, but the sale price, $1,100, cash exchanged. It was raw in a one touch. And the buyer, this is the benefit to card shows. You get to hold the card, look at the card, examine the card. And if you're good with the purchase, you buy it. And that's that. It's not eBay where a different angle of a picture doesn't, that's the benefit of buying in person. So anyway, this buyer examined the card, was happy with his purchase, or so we thought. He goes outside somewhere. He leaves the show. He leaves the show floor, and goes outside because he did mention natural light. So what happened was he comes back to the dealer and he says, "There's damage on this card. I want my money back." That with all the shady that's going on in the hobby right now, that raises some red flags. And that's the first thing as I'm hearing this story out before making, my opinion. Okay, this is shady. It's a raw card in a one touch, and you have all the time in the world or all the time in the day to examine this card. and then you walk outside, come back in, say there's damage that you didn't see before, and there's good lighting. So I'm like, well, let me take a look. And he goes, it's, there's damage right up there. Okay. I don't see it. I but I'm not a mintist. I'm not a gem mintist. I'm not a PSA 10 guy. Like I don't know like flaws. Like I don't know what a perfect card looks like. Like that's just not my thing. So I don't see the damage. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. I don't see it. It goes back and forth, and so I said this is, ultimately my first comment was this is between buyer and seller. Like you had the opportunity to examine the card, you chose to buy it, money was exchanged, you left. That signifies a final sale. So I would say I'm sorry, but if the seller doesn't want to give you a refund, he doesn't have to. Like this is, that's his decision. That's what I think. So it goes back and forth. And by the way, the buyer is not being polite. He's causing a scene. Actually, that's the text message that I got. Causing a scene was used. He was loud. He was swearing, and there's children around. So I'm already like not really happy with the situation because of how this person is acting. So it goes back and forth, and I say, this is between you two. You left. That's kind of on you. Like you had all the time in the world to examine this card, and you chose to buy it. So it goes back and forth for a couple minutes because he's getting more and more agitated, and there's another person standing by, a casual observer. He looks at the card. He goes, well, I think maybe this is what you're talking about, but it doesn't look like damage. I mean, maybe a flaw. And so he goes, look, it's right here. You can see it right here. And I said, that's all of a sudden, okay. I said, you can see it? He goes, yeah, it's right here. You can see it. And I go, well, why didn't you see it 10 minutes ago when you purchased the card? He didn't like that. Then he swore at me, said, this is how you run an effing card show, F you, F bombs. And then he stormed out, cursing the whole way. It was unfortunate. Overall, the show was amazing outside of that. So with all of the bad stuff going on, like that's shady. That screams to me, like Jenny says in the chat, the swap out. That screams to me like that's a giant red flag to me. Buying in person and all of a sudden coming back into the show and saying I want a refund, it's damaged. I don't like that. So that was, I wanted to start with that first because get the bad news out of the way. Plus, I think I think people, when I put in my Twitter, people are going to click on the video because they want to hear about the scam. They don't want to listen to me talk about coffee for 20 minutes. So I wanted to get that out of the way first. Bad news out of the way. Let's talk good news before I get into it. What's up, Jenny? Good morning. Zach, good morning to you. I'm assuming this is what happened when Bo had to lay down the law. I came here to do two things: collect Cubs and kick some ass. I have all the Cubs I need for today. I like it. Outside swap the card. That's kind of what it seemed like to me. Sounds like the buyer was a fart duster. Fall Creek, good morning to you. eBay has kind of ruined people. Humans think they can return everything. And what Jenny said, absolutely. Rich, good morning to you. So it was Eau Claire show was busting at the seams yesterday. That's awesome. And I know Shearerville, Indiana, which is I know some of the Chicago people that come up here were in Shearerville, in Eau Claire. So it was actually a couple of dealers that have set up at my show in the past were in Eau Claire. So that's great to hear that all the shows were just busy. It was, I mean, when I started the show last April, this was beyond what I expected. Like I knew we had potential in this market in Madison, Wisconsin. I knew there's a huge hobby like they've just been waiting for a big show like this, and I knew that there was potential, but I didn't think it could be what it was yesterday, and I think it's gonna continue building. It's just it was like I looked at the room, and I had a lot of smiling vendors. I had Paul came in from he's in the Chicago suburbs, came all the way up, 2.5 hour drive. Um, an hour, 2 hours into the show, he's like, "Hey, I'm coming back next month." That's what I like. That's what I like to hear. A lot of smiling vendors, like a lot of holy shit. I can't believe, there was a lot. It was just awesome. And I love to see that. I love to see happy customers with the exception of one, and happy vendors. And put me down like vendor, put me down. I'll do every show. I'm coming back every show. So I love it. It was so much fun. I was standing and walking the whole day, which probably the first time. Usually, there's kind of a lull. There wasn't even a lunchtime lull. Like it's noon and there's still people walking through, and there's still like a wall of people. So there was no slowdown. Crowd was just absolutely amazing. It was something else. So um, so what else? Crowd was amazing. I'll go into my strategy. So my strategy for the show was, uh since I have so much demand for tables from vendors, I want to downsize. And there's been a couple shows where I've done four, like the whole wall. I've just done four tables because I had the tables and I had the space. So I need to adjust my strategy where I can't put out as many quarter boxes, and it takes a lot more card sales at 25 cents. And I have I have tons and tons of boxes of, you know, cards that are a few dollars each that I just haven't, got to list on eBay. So it's like I'm just gonna make dollar boxes and kind of I think I'm gonna purge out the 25-cent boxes and focus on the dollar boxes since I'm down to two tables. And just so I try to do a closeout. My 25-cent boxes, you buy the box, 2,000 to 2,500 cards probably, $100. So you're getting about a nickel a card. And a lot of these cards, they're dollar cards, $1.50, $2. There's probably some $5 cards still in there. Um, I didn't get any sales on the whole box. And I sold one box in Rockford earlier this month, and then I sold one box at my November show. And I thought I'm going to make a couple sales. I thought I'd get a couple sales on the bulk boxes, but I didn't. Had to take them all back home. Although one of my vendors, Kyle, he may buy all my football and basketball boxes. So he's like, I gave him a number. I'm like, he asked me if I was firm on the 100 per box, and I said, you buy five, I'll do it for 400. So he let me sleep on it. So we'll see. I don't like those words. I don't like when people want to sleep on it, but I'm not going to drop my price anymore. Um, and get some of those bulk quarter boxes out. So that was my strat. It worked well. I focused more on the dollar boxes, and I actually sales dollars wise, I was like exactly where I had in November, which is kind of good because card savers, some of these boxes, so that helped a little bit too. So, and I sold some slabs. I had the $10. I really thought I was going to sell them out, and $10 per slab. I thought I was going to sell them all out. I think I only sold five, maybe. So I still have like 20 left. It's not, selling at $10 isn't too bad because I bought like 30 or 40 of them at the National, and I think my per slab price was $12. I sold one for 50. I've sold three or four for 20. So if I move the rest at 10, basically it's a wash. Which, hey, I'm with the way these are all basketball slabs. With the way the basketball market is, I'm okay. Like I'm just time to liquidate, move them out. Dan, Jen, after the busy time, you come home to ship. That is the truth. 150 right now is my number. But I didn't ship anything yesterday at all because I came home and it's just like I was kind of tired. Oh crap, I've got to wrap things up. So I was tired and and watched the Royal Rumble. Good morning, Rise in Portland, Oregon. Absolutely hit jackpots. Awesome. A 74 tops, Hank Aaron. What else? I got some non-sports packs um, from one of my vendors. And he actually tossed in a whole bunch. So there were I got all of these non-sports packs for my nostalgia breaks, and he threw in there were like 4 or 5 that I bought, and then he threw in all the extras. So this is probably my favorite that I'm looking forward to open. I'll probably do this break on YouTube this week. Charlie's Angels. Um, then there was Battlestar Galactica. So he and he actually threw in. So he had 2 of them, and he goes, well, I'll give you, I'll give you the good pack. And I'm like, you can give me the ripped pack because I'm just gonna rip it open. Like I do a YouTube, I'm gonna do YouTube videos. So he's like, oh, I'll just give you both of them. I'm like, okay, cool. He threw in, and then he threw in the GI Joe, and I saw this and I wanted it because of the Pokemon. But I'm gonna open it. And then what else was there? Oh, the Nintendo pack, and apparently these sell for a decent amount. Nintendo, so I'm excited. This is one of the ones that I really wanted to open. Space 1999, never watched that. I don't even know when it's from, what year it's from. Is this late 70s, early 80s? I bet Rich knows. um, let's see. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I have some singles that were just in a random collection I bought. And then he threw in all of these. just gave them to me. He's like, "Oh, you can have these in X-Men from like the 90s. There was a Batman battle cards. Let's see. Power Rangers, Star Trek Voyager, DC Comics. I don't know what this is. And then a Spider-Man. Rich, it was Space 1999. I don't know what year this is from. It doesn't have a year mark on it. I'm thinking like maybe, oh, it does have a year mark, 1976. It's on the front. Yeah, Space 1999. I've never heard of it. And the reason why is because it was before my time. I was born in 1982. So 76. So that'll be a fun one to open. Oh, Marvel America Civil War. So those are good breaks that I'll be ripping on YouTube. The latest is Elf that I released Friday. So I may open, maybe I'll do Charlie's Angels tomorrow. Probably won't have time to do a nostalgic today, but I'll do one tomorrow. Also tomorrow, I'll be going to pick up the Goodwill, the 500-pound card, 500 pounds of cards that I bought from Goodwill. So I'm picking those up tomorrow. Low Roller says, did you sell any card show this weekend? Yes, I did. Dollar cards, quarter cards, and a few slabs. So that's I've got to get going. My wife needs help. It was a syndicated sci-fi series starring a couple former Mission Impossible stars. Interesting. I'll have to look it up before I rip it open. Madison Card Show review. My strategy. We talked about the drama, the crowd, the non-sports packs. I got some Cubs. I'll share. Made a trade with Kyle. Kyle came in, got a box of Cubs, and traded a Marcelo Meyer refractor. Nick, my buddy Nick, a vendor at the show, he gave me a box of Cubs, and then there was a box of Quentin gave me a Cubs too. Great show. How much will it cost? 500 pounds. It was $400. So like 420 after tax. So a great show, amazing turnout. Can't wait for February. I'll be at the Rockford show, and I think that is next week or in 2 weeks. I can't remember, but I'll be at the Rockford show. I better check my calendar. I'll be at the Rockford show coming up. So looking forward to that. I had a great Rockford show in January. So January card shows in January, all the reports I've been seeing online, have been, all the card shows have been great. So so that's awesome. Love to see that. How many cards will be 500 pounds? Roughly 125,000. I did some math. I'm going to do a YouTube video series on this as well. I'll do an intro here probably tomorrow, just to go off, and then I'll, do the deal. So pick those up. So I've got to run. Thanks for tuning in. Madison Card Show. If you were at the show, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Amazing show. Next one is February 26th, and I may have one or maybe two autograph guests. So looking forward to getting that. Just have to make sure the dates work. So I'm in talks. So we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Sunday, and we'll talk tomorrow.